It's just a long lost look in your eyes, brings out a love that I can't disguise. So take me down to the places I've never seen. Or don't you try to kill me with kind. It's just your love that's driving me wild. Oh, from the dawn we rise, with the heart we cry, into the light we go, into the light we go. From the darkest night, from the fire inside, into the light we go, into the light we go, into the light we go. It's just a long lost look in your eyes, brings out a love that I can't disguise. Oh, from the dark we rise, with the heart we cry, to the light we go.
The crowd is buzzing after that last victory by KONGDOO Monster over SKT, but it was really SKT that made things interesting after quite a weak early game, winning about 4 fights in a row, but they could not close it out. I'm going to take a look at some highlights here from the game.
It was just a really hype game. So much to talk about at every moment. Sometimes these 40-minute games, you know, they drag out. It's really just one team kind of mis-executing, finally executing, they win the game. But it wasn't like that in this game. It did take a really big outplay, the teleport that was never possible for the Cho'Gath to get the backline for the game to actually close. But this game was dominated by KONGDOO Monster in the early game. Mistakes like this one where just after KONGDOO Monster, Conga line and give away 3 kills, 4 kills went the way of KONGDOO Monster, but nothing much happened apart from most of the objectives rolling down in the interim, but winning a fight against a strong 5v5 from SKT was impossible. This part of the map, when they're trying to close the game, Cho'Gath can't get to Bang. There's no feast onto AD carry. Bang takes no damage in 4 fights in a row, it feels like, and you wonder, could this be SKT coming back? This was Wolf winning them a 2nd fight in a row. 11,000 gold behind at this point in the game. It continued to drag. A lot of grit and determination showed by SKT, but in the end, not enough to actually pick up the victory.
Oh, tons of tenacity for this team who decides, no, we're not going to go away without a fight. Really speaks to the determination, as you were saying, of the team to not go down. And this was the ending fight as they finally find Bang in the back and the flash. Cho'Gath, see you later.
Both carries going down first was going to mean curtains for the team of SKT T1. Front-to-back team fighting, that's something they can do. A big alien in the back line, not something you can deal with easily. So good stuff from KONGDOO Monster. Great teleport from Roach. May win the MVP just for that particular pay. And look at the damage numbers here. Predictably large numbers from Zoe, but by the end, Zoe was kind of a non-factor. Really was about the Cho'Gath actually getting backline access. Gold lead shows here. This game was pretty damn even at the 20-minute mark, you know, 4,000 gold lead to KONGDOO Monster. A good early game for sure, but it took a long time, 10,000 gold ahead for the better part of 20 minutes to actually close the game.
I think you got to give the MVP to Raze here. I mean, he had a fantastic early game. He made the jungle Camille work, and in the later stages of the game, that last team fight, he was the one who found Bang with the help of Secret. Just teleporting on top of him with the Stand United. It was a team effort to get that, but his Camille was really on point. He is going to pick up the MVP in the end. And it says in the beginning and in the finale, this guy was here. And that really was the story of Raze on Camille for this game.
And praise the Lord, he's got a 3rd champion victory. His effective champion pool is no longer just Jarvan and Zach. The Camille game, very well done here. In the end, actually, it was the fact that the Guardian Angel meant that the ultimatum couldn't be cancelled by just killing Camille that allowed enough time for the Cho'Gath to complete the teleport, get into the backline, a scream and a feast later. Nice stuff from Raze in the early game, really did dictate the early game mid lane matchup. FLICKR was on welfare for the best part of 25 minutes, just getting ganked relentlessly. And a Camille ban seems a certainty for game 3.
And if I were Raze, I'd be extremely happy with that last one, because when Yutun is starting ahead of you after you've had 3 bad matches in a row, with that game alone, you secure your spot as the main jungler once again. So guys, we're going to go into pick and bans for game number 3. Let's see how this one plays out. This time, of course, SKT on the blue side. Blue side 2-0 so far.
Was a Galio Ezreal draft on blue side. Ezreal first pick into Galio in the second round on blue side. The Ezreal already banned away by KONGDOO Monster, and they just don't want to deal with what SKT was winning with in game 1. So double ban towards that strategy. Does mean a lot is going to be kind of left open in this shakeup of picks and bans with SKT back on the blue side. Was 3 bans towards Roach, and then Roach's Cho'Gath was involved in the winning play. So only going to eat a Gnar ban. Does mean that Orin is a very possible first round here for the side of KONGDOO Monster, and no visit from Blossom on his trademark Kha'Zix going to be banned away. Will FLICKR take a visit to Xayah? Okay, second game for FLICKR in the LCK. Third game in competitive if you include All-Star last year on the Zoe. Was a loss first time out, but we saw some great Zoe mechanics from FLICKR.
You were talking about the different targeted bans in game 2. It was all targeted against Roach, but not this time. They're taking away some power picks. And that means we are going to have SSol on the Varus this time. But the one big pick you mentioned might be banned out, the Camille. It gets through. We will see Raze on that again.
I see Xayah Rakan on the blue side here for SKT. There's already been quite a lot of thinning of the champion pool, so the Lovers bot lane is confirmed. Ezreal and Kalista taken away. Varus does very well to most other matchups, but the full Xayah Rakan for the first time 2018 season from Bang & Wolf. Bot laners for oh so long, and now getting to show their love in a different, unique way. KONGDOO Monster thinking about a mid laner to lane into the Zoe. Can go into the Banshee Veil very early on the Taliyah and just try to wave clear and kind of leave lane. Play the side lanes a lot better than Zoe can. So that's the big game plan here, kind of pretty akin to the Rise game plan in game 2 of wanting to push, get a side lane turret, and roam out, as there seems to be a happy birthday call there.
That's for Suncaster, actually, the host on the side of the Korean desk. It is his birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday to him. Super cool guy.
No jungler yet selected by SKT, so Blossom will not have the Zac. So game 1 is definitely being thrown out by KONGDOO Monster. Not interested in a return to any of those. KONGDOO Monster looking for secondary engage because they already have Varus and Camille, so the Alistar's a pretty smart ban. Wanted to thin out some of the bot lane options here for KONGDOO Monster. Kind of be happy to see them opt into something like a Tahm Kench. It might still be banned by SKT, but Tahm Kench so often gets caught up in the grand entrance and the quickness from the Rakan that doesn't get maximum value. Good pick against the Zoe normally, so interesting to see which second support ban we see from SKT if they go down that route, as double power jungle bans for KONGDOO Monster.
Taking away that Senj, the Braum definitely high up there in the tier list in terms of the supports.
So we'll see Tahm Kench here again, and I think SKT is happy with this. Tahm Kench does disengage the trouble bubble super well, but as I'm mentioning, you can do so much work with the quickness grand entrance that you can basically CC the Tahm Kench after Devour for an insanely long time. So I don't think you mind there if you're SKT. The Braum and the Alistar would have been better fits for the comp. On SKT's side, maybe Thal jumping on the blind pick Gangplank. Could be into the Camille, but heavily expected to be jungle Camille from the side of KONGDOO Monster. See how they want to round out their draft, and Blossom been up and down on the Jarvan, we should mention, but 2-1 now on the pick. We'll go for it anyway. See if he can provide a bit more assistance. Maybe he'll be doing the level 2 ganking in the mid lane this time out.
Definitely has an option on that blue side. Quick red into mid lane, especially against Taliyah, who only has the flash, but definitely will be taking the cleanse along with it against the Zoe.
So what are we doing against Gangplank is the question. Ooh. Roach has been playing Riven in solo queue, but the Vladimir definitely is more reliable choice. So sadly, we are still denied a second game of Riven in the LCK, the pentakill champion. It's going to be Vladimir instead. Still very similar identity. Seeing a lot more resolve Gangplank. Huni went into that against Licorice in the Cloud9 Echo Fox game. That was against Lucian. Can take the same approach. We saw Keen do that against Vladimir. And for an early Spectre's Cowl, so we'll see how respectful Thal is in the top side. But they have an interesting draft here for KONGDOO Monster, very different. When it comes to frontline, kind of isn't any. Roach is going to go, obviously, into ability power, have some decent health. Raze will go probably pretty carry once again. Warrior into Trinity Force, otherwise why even bother with the Camille? But on the side of SKT, it's really only going to be the Jarvan as a true tank in this game, and then both supports doing an impersonation. So very interesting game, a lot of scaling in the top side for SKT. I think these junglers need to be kept tabs on at level 1 though, Valdez, because both of them are going to feel so tempted to go for that level 2 gank and try to dictate the mid lane matchup very early.
Gangplank secured for SKT. You were looking at some win rates. So far, he's been pretty good in LCK. SKT able to secure that one. I think it was something like 60% so far for the GP.
Yeah, we definitely have quite a few of those 60% champions, and the Gangplank Global especially, and all that bank planking does a lot, but we'll see if he can actually afford to go bank plank against a Vladimir and definitely be turned around against you. Competitive draft from both sides. Doesn't feel like it's really tilted too heavily one way or the other. But to me, it's all about Raze when it comes to KONGDOO Monster. Fool me once, says FLICKR. Can he fool him a second time and steal away the victory from SK Telecom T1?
Very curious to see if he can pull it off again and perhaps net himself another MVP. We're going into game number 3 right now. SKT versus KONGDOO Monster. Fans of both teams still here. Still a filled out audience in the Nexon Arena. And the KONGDOO Monster fans even happier after they were able to secure a win over SKT, something that has not happened before. They got O2'd both times in the spring season. And finally this time here in spring of 2018, they're able to pick up a win.
It's actually a really high tension level 1 because, like I mentioned, both of these champions can do very creative ganks early as Raze looked for a level 1 gank, of all things.
Yeah.
Who needs a buff?
Yeah, he needs to pop his potion, actually. Just a small little thing. He's going to get the leash anyway.
And that's why I was saying high tension, because not even just ganking, but even just which side of the map is the Camille exposed on actually affects whether the level 2 gank is coming, what angle it's coming in from. There's a lot going on at the level 1. No late ward bottom side from FLICKR, though, on this blue start from KONGDOO Monster. Means we might just see a visit, but you've already shown your hand, so always interesting to see what Raze wants to do. Uses the blast plan. Not going to be going for gank just yet. Never really know here. The red ward is placed. There seems to be buff to buff here from Raze's game.
Yep, 1-2. Multiple pings on that one brush. Pixel brush that has both the wards there. Zombie ward gonna pop now, and they definitely do see it.
I'm surprised to see the Edge has gone for Summon Airy this game, not going for Comet or any of the other choices that we see on the Taliyah. A lot of different options you can consider, but seems to be as much lane power as possible. You'd imagine it's going to be Comet and also the Scorch, just for the ability to get Zoe low and then hope that the hookshot can hit from Raze, and that does the rest of the work. The mid lane matchup tilting the way of KONGDOO Monster was really the big reason that KONGDOO got off to a big lead in game number 2. So recreating that is definitely what they want to do.
I've been playing a lot of Taliyah myself, and when I went through pro builds, pretty much all of them were taking Airy. I noticed that Ian was one of the guys that was actually taking Arcane Comet, but almost all of them were taking Scorch. So you were talking about lane dominance. Taliyah has tons of pushing potential early on, but also poke potential in the lane before Zoe gets strong, and looking to take advantage of that. Although you do see some nice respect out of Edge, as he has no vision down. He's just sitting back in the lane, scared of that Jarvan.
Also the sort of game where you'll know that Taliyah against super tanks, you know, Scion, for example, is Secret might steal away the Rift Herald. The Rift Scuttler, I should say.
Gonna help out with the clear, too. Give the gold over to Raze. Look at that.
With no super tanks in this game, there is actually the chance that Taliyah's late game damage can actually be compared to her early to mid game. She's always monstrous when she doesn't have to push damage through tanks, but show the Jarvan. A lot of low health, low survivability members on the side of SKT. He's looking for an early roam, seeing a lot of early turret dives top side, but doesn't have Camille in position to pull that off here. And Thal did go into the Kleptomancy, so we have seen Resolve Gangplank in the LCK and in the NALCS recently. But just going to be going secondary Resolve, taking a bit of magic resist and playing respectful is the way that Thal has decided to go this game.
Yep. Also has the Relic Shield. We'll pick up a bunch of gold from just poking down Roach up in the top side with that. One of the only players in the game that's not in the bottom lane that does still pick that up. This bottom lane not going to be interesting just yet.
Yeah, level 6 needs to be hit, so there's actually options apart from just devour the AD carry for Wolf to try to play with. Always interesting to see which ability a Rakan maxes first. You see Q max, you see W max, everything except E max after the Ardent Sensor nerfs. Also foresee a very early visit from Wolf into the Zeke's Convergence. It's been a big favorite rushed item onto Rakan. Talk about that more if we see it.
But for now, not seeing too much. We were talking about that tense early game, and so far, it seems like the respect out of both teams in just the prediction of that tense early game has led to a lack of action, at least so far.
God tier warding though. Double control ward on both sides of mid lane for KONGDOO Monster means literally no worries whatsoever from Taliyah to push, and push and roam was her first thought. Pretty difficult for KONGDOO Monster pre-6 to actually make something happen in the bot lane though. What?
Guys.
Some synergy issues between FLICKR and Blossom we noted in game 2, and I would say the communication still needs a bit of work.
I think it happened at the exact same time there.
Sure, but
so he was doing it over the wall, but
just to let you guys know, the comms are working, by the way.
You just be like, okay.
You know we get pauses when we have headset issues, so the headsets are definitely working.
They're going to clean up one of the control wards, the side of KONGDOO.
On the upside, when it comes to clearing the control, it takes a really long time for the enemy to do it. You can try to bait them. I'm trying to find a silver lining, guys. You don't want a double control ward to brush. Only time you ever see that is around Baron, just to basically guarantee that a control ward is there. You just double control ward it, so the enemy can't clear it fast enough. Raze on the front foot again. Pushing through mid lane, backing away. Control ward is cleared top side, so that's good news. Bot lane, trade's going pretty well for KONGDOO Monster.
Yeah, it was getting close, but there are too many minions there, and Bang ate way too much damage, so they're going to back off. They're not going to be entirely healthy, but you'll notice that neither of the bot lanes have gone home just yet. They're going to be looking for the backs, and whoever gets that back safely enough is going to be in the advantageous position, of course.
Vision does start to swing the way of SKT now that both control wards have been cleared out. On the side of KONGDOO Monster, a little bit more threat onto Taliyah. He's just picking up blue buff as we speak. Thal has decided he is the ultimate investment banker. He also has the cull now. SKT happy to play a long game, and you can't really... It's kind of an interesting duality, because when you're against a Vladimir, you can go super respectful, resolve into a second item Spectre's card. That's what we saw from Keen for Freak of Freaks, going very respectful against Vlad, because Vlad does have a lot of turret dive options against a Gangplank. Or you can do the opposite. It's a really weird mind game, but you go super disrespectful and then just basically bait the enemy top laner to outplay themselves. Usually when you see something like a Cull Gangplank going Kleptomancy against a Vlad, as the Vlad player, you're like, you're doing this against me? You know, you want to turret dive them, you call your jungler. But the enemy knows that. The enemy team has that same information. There's a lot of interesting to and fro when you go this particular route. So we'll see if there is any jungle attention. For now, it's isolated. Roach is opening up a CS lead, but we all know Gangplank. It's not going to be leading to a gold lead anytime soon.
He's having a ball up there. Neither of the junglers have had an opportunity to do much in this game. Everybody's sitting at 0 everything. As Raze, he hits level 6, though. So we'll see if he wants to make a play up towards the top lane. There's currently no ward.
It's a stopwatch, though, so stopwatch, flash, and ultimate here to try to get himself out of dodge.
As well as Blossom, who's nearby.
Taliyah is also on the front foot. They're looking for the roam and the contest on blue here.
Those two control wards cleaned up as they're coming into the blue, and the smite, it goes over to Raze, and there it is. They're getting on top of Blossom with the Hextech ultimatum. First blood comes in. Teleport not needed. FLICKR trying to make things interesting here, as well as Thal making his way down, but Roach got here first.
Here's Wolf.
Okay, Wolf coming on in. Thal getting low. Look at him in the face
Oh.
of danger. The flash, he misses both. So close. He may have been able to one-shot both of them as they were both incredibly low, but missing by inches. FLICKR not able to pick up a kill.
And that was his own flash as well. Wasn't one that he picked up. So Summoner down from FLICKR, not able to get an answering kill. Goes back to mid lane. Won't even be able to push. Needs Wolf to come and help him push the lane. He's completely out of mana. SKT trying to defend, even though they had investment banker Gangplank against Vladimir, and the first rotation was always going to come in from the Taliyah. It's actually turned on them. Blossom has been outsmited a couple of times by Raze. Invader's advantage, I guess. Comes in, smites, ultimatum. It's already level 6. Nothing Blossom can do. They could have just ended it here, but 2 low health members from the side of KONGDOO Monster. Roach first to react, able to escort out his duo. They go top side after seeing the teleport. Let's watch FLICKR here. Looks for the flash. Oh. Good decision from KONGDOO Monster. Both of them cheating the right way. They don't split the difference. That means both of them live.
Everybody loves to talk about how OP Zoe is, especially as she gets fed, but you got to be on point with your skill shots. He missed one earlier at the blue buff location. The second one was a lot harder to pull off, I'll let you know, but kind of unfortunate that he could not secure the kills in that situation.
So if you guys are wondering where this game goes, because you said already, like, low tankiness on both sides, a lot of common things. KONGDOO Monster, my read on the draft here is that basically they win early items in every lane. So one item, I think they have a massive lead over SKT. Gangplank going to be inching towards Trinity Force. But when you're talking about one item, Taliyah, Rageblade Varus, Vladimir also being able to pile on early power. I feel like the early power purchase for KONGDOO Monsters have that extra oomph early. But SKT take it at 3 to 4 items unless Roach is just completely monstrous, either in a side lane or getting into the back line. So SKT have a lot of scaling options. Can't do so much scaling when there's already aggression from KONGDOO.
They're going to lock down the Rakan early, who tries to get out of there. No wall just yet out of Edge. He doesn't have it available, actually. And the TP coming on in from FLICKR means that they're looking to get away from this one, not committing to the engage. No Weaver's wall, as they do not pick up any kills.
Yeah, execution onto quickness and also the Featherstorm from Bang and Summoners both up on the AD carry. It's very difficult to complete that dive. They thought with Tahm Kench they could take extra turret shots.
Oh.
Teleport ended up answering it. Here's the Weaver's Wall.
Okay, they have both their globals up now. Where are you going to go from here, Bang? Does he even have the Featherstorm? No, he does not. Was burned earlier on. The Gangplank ultimate does not help out, and that's going to be another kill going to KONGDOO.
And whatever the result of this series, A for effort for KONGDOO Monster. They're definitely committing to the plays, respecting cooldowns when SKT has them, but when they don't have them, showing the killer's edge to actually return and pick up the kill. Great Weaver's Wall into the Abyssal Voyage, gets Bang second time around. So 2 kills on the board to KONGDOO Monster. KONGDOO are once again ahead of the play, and SKT, with no Galio, are behind it.
Yeah. It's really just a smart play, using the strengths of their comp. They're trying to come up here onto Roach now, but you'll notice that they're scared to. And Blossom is down 3 levels on the Vladimir, who is very farmed at this point.
Vlad with Summoners up and a stopwatch. Good luck with that one. So the call is to disengage. Edge has been the most impressive player in this game for me. Both of his Weaver's Walls have been clinical and then some, so great to see him on a pick that he liked in the past. 2 games this season, 2 losses, but with Raze on the front foot, Raze not being just a non-factor as he was in series after series recently, him being at least relevant in the early game and Edge rotating smartly has meant great things for the side of KONGDOO. We're going to see the replay. Remember that they know everything is down bot side. SKT can see Tahm Kench. Both of them pull away. Wolf's first thought is to walk up and contest vision. Edge is the one with the killer instinct. They just come in, they gap close, nothing Bang can do. They held their cooldowns from before, didn't get greedy on the turret dive, and this time they can be clinical on the second visit bot lane.
It's something that you have to predict, right? You can't really outplay that many globals and ultimates being used onto an AD carry.
Well, you outplay by not being there, right? There's
exactly. You need to predict it. You need to say, okay, the Tahm Kench backs away. He must be going for something sneaky. And unfortunately, they could not predict it. Nice bit of damage coming out here, but he does get away. It is Camille.
The selfless thing was the Edge was still bot side, right? Usually the mid laner You're a Taliyah player. Your first thought is, I got to get mid lane and catch the wave. I got to go pick up CS. But he overstayed bot lane, trusting that the play the second time around would work. Not usually the way of FLICKR, who usually is so much more dominant on the farm. But Edge trying to play the team game, gets his team a big lead. And he also has a CS lead of his own in mid lane. So things going very well for the Summoner Airy early game focused Taliyah.
Love those kinds of plays where you can talk about it for lengths on end. This time it is predicted, as there is some vision. The question is, do they get out though? Wolf trying
Raze
to go
is
in.
all alone this time.
Yeah, he's got Secret and Soul, and in the end it just ends up being a zone. Edge this time coming in, but nice response as a team from SKT. Cannon Barrage means no turret, at least not enough damage to take it out.
Speaking of not a lot of damage, look at this. Raze actually gone Cinderhulk on Camille. First Cinderhulk Camille we've seen in the LCK. Never picked in solo queue either. So after all his deaths in the previous game, he wants to guarantee his ultimatums earlier. It took till they finished Guardian Angel for him not to just be popped through the Sterix Gauge, Trinity Force, damage build he went last game. This time around, very early game focus builds. Means it would be just an ultimatum as the game goes on. But it does mean that ultimatum is likely to last the full duration, so level 11, getting the longer duration on the ultimatum seems to be the window that a build like that is playing around.
It's a cool idea. I mean, they have some extra damage on their composition, so take some away for other benefits. Thal sitting up here. It looks like he's having a hard time, but he's already got Eternity Force, and his turn hasn't gone down just yet, so I'm sure he's pretty happy so far.
And this is just in a 1v1. There's been no impact of the top lane, the jungler top lane whatsoever, only on the invade around blue buff. But the top laners actually have any proximity to the rest of their team. Yep, standard Gangplank, not much to talk about there. Most of the action's been bot side. Xayah and Rakan. We knew it would be big come patch 8.2, where no longer the fact that Rakan can't happily go into Relic Shield could be exploited. The fact that he could go happily elsewhere with the double Relic Shield bot lanes moving away. We knew it would come back, but so far, it really hasn't had the same payoff. We saw KSV lose with it first game on 8.2. Seeing a struggle here in the early laning phase, but largely that's just been laning phase mistakes from SKT. Bang being too confident to walk up against globals rather than anything about the Xayah and Rakan. See how things develop though. Top lane will eventually go down. So isolated 16 minutes and solo turret gold means this Vlad is going to be hitting second item super fast. I wonder if it'll be Liandry's or the teamfight choice in Azonia's. Both of them could be considered. With stopwatch up, you could understand going the higher damage route.
Yeah, I'd like to see that out of him. Okay, we have another engage here, but again, it's Tahm looking to turn this around. You'll notice the Weaver's Wall coming on in, as well as the Camille. They're looking for a pick. They get Wolf on the side, but he actually brings down the wall to secure the kill here. That's going to be enough. Raze gets caught up. But again, will they go for the counter here? Thal made his way down with the TP, but they're not confident enough to go for it. And another kill secured here by KONGDOO.
And the buddy system is really working out for KONGDOO Monster. They're always investing 5. Edge finds Blossom. He's 3 levels up, but doesn't want to take too much free damage.
Oh, they're looking for it. Look at this. Tahm coming on in here with Roach, but it's not enough, as Thal and FLICKR are there to support.
Both AD carries isolated, considering a dive onto Soul and contest the blue buff. They're looking for the maximum here, SKT.
I love this series. It's been action-packed the entire time.
It's been very different from expectation.
Yeah.
KONGDOO Monster have not rolled over. Raze has been able to find a footing in an early game for the first time, and it feels like 5 series. And it's meant so much for the team around him. But Vladimir, Taliyah, they're both in the base, so this will be first strike of the game to SKT.
Nice one, too. They pick up that mountain. Going to make things a bit easier. The objectives, of course. Meanwhile, FLICKR was pushing mid. Nice little dodge there. Ooh.
No Banshee Veil yet. Going to be built second here by Edge. Yeah. Obviously, the build path has always been criticized because you don't get a Negatron Cloak. You only get a No Magic Mantle as you work your way slowly towards, and it feels bad to sit in the inventory. But that's definitely needed at this point in the game. Edge is known as roll. Push up, try to roam. The roams have worked. But if it's an isolated mid lane, it's no fun for the Taliyah.
Raze caught by the quickness. Not able to hookshot away just yet. There's the flash. in the face of 3 people, it's definitely not enough to get him to safety.
Roach will cancel his teleport. Would have had backline access, but no one there to actually help him out. Working towards the Leandries like we predicted. But Thal, if we ever do turn over to the gold, I'm sure it's going to be very competitive, even though he's down 50 CS. Actually has turned his Relic Shield into a Targon's Brace. So we'll have a little bit of extra warding here on the top side of the map. Usually we just see it stayed at Relic Shield and then sold, but it's a bit of a different approach here, a bit more extra health. He's going to be in a duo lane a bit more often because they have been pushing as 4 or 5, and then the Relic Shield healing will be a relevant thing to talk about as well. Mid lane.
Looking for a play here, just a bit of damage, doesn't get caught by the knockup, but we got Tahm Kench coming in too. That's gonna be 3 people. The Chain of Corruption gets the Jarvan. Blossom forced to flash out of there. Stopwatch by Edge as he tries to dodge the damage from FLICKR. It's enough. Now Sol in an awkward spot, but there it is, the huge knockup onto 3 of them as Tahm Kench gets everybody in the action. But here comes Roach from the top lane looking to turn it around, but it's not enough as Seeker gets low too. FLICKR doing extra damage. That'll be 2 more kills for SKT.
Yeah, SKT catch KONGDOO Monster in transition. A Hema Plague and then backing away for a free farmed Vladimir is exactly what you want as SKT. They're going to push through the mid lane. Looking for 2 turrets here, SKT.
Oh, there it is. Sol getting super low. He's forced to flash out of that one just to make sure he lives.
That was the one-shot attempt. He used his own flash again. Doesn't get the kill, but chunking out Varus gets them the 2nd turret they craved. And SKT have their first meaningful gold lead of the game.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the first pick Zoe here for FLICKR. So far, it's been looking pretty good. I like the idea out of SKT. He's only been allowed to have that Zoe for the 2nd time tonight, and he's showing it off. All that solo queue practice paying off in dividends.
But it's been fun. I mean, you've alluded to it multiple times, how this game has ebbed and flowed. SKT understands that KONGDOO Monster wants to push mid lane and then roam with the Taliyah Global. Zoe doesn't play side lanes well, so why not bring the fight to Zoe? Playing through the Zoe lane is the right way to approach Zoe against a low tankiness comp. And KONGDOO Monster opt into it by teleporting to the mid lane with the Abyssal Voyage. And then it's fish in a barrel for Zoe and Thal. Even free hitting by Bang as he gets here towards the end. And this is SKT's win condition in the mid game. Attack the mid lane, play through the Zoe lane, rather than the side of KONGDOO Monster, who are trying to play anywhere except where Zoe is.
Yeah. If you're gonna criticize Blossom, it's not gonna be about his mechanics. He's been on point tonight. He's looking pretty good, as we have seen. Right on point with the triple knockup as Tahm Kench makes it a triple knockup. Look at the gold, extremely competitive this time around in Game 3.
And they can't allow the game KONGDOO Monster to snowball away from them. They never want to have Roach just trading farm with Thal in a side lane. This Gangplank will always out-gold, and certainly scaling-wise, very, very similar into the late game. Thal himself has reinforced the 1v1. He's gone for the Executioner's Calling here to allow him some side lane pressure against the Vladimir. We saw this same item picked up for Gnar by Smeb in the last series that KT Rolster played right before the end against KONGDOO Monster. Last series we had before the break. So he's only going to be really procking it realistically on his Q most of the time. Doesn't get into auto range that often against Vladimir, but a lot of small parts means that right now the power level of Thal's very low for a Gangplank. He has a lot of small items and a Trinity Force, but if he's able to side lane for a long time and then just have an ultimate and they can win 4v4s, that's how SKT are playing. So going towards the Zoe and having Vladimir lose the minimum is how SKT is approaching the mid game.
Well, they're pushing up in the top side now, but KONGDOO wants to make things interesting. Let's see how the Abyssal Voyage comes in, if it does at all. Thinking about an engage, but not going for it just yet. TP coming in from Vlad.
It's pretty deep, though.
Yeah. And the sleep here onto Secret. He's a Tahm Kench, but still, at the end of it all, they could not really find an opportunity to engage. Roach eats it, but he's got a Tahm Kench.
Teleport canceled by Thal. He's going to ult now.
Oh, no knock up there on a Secret, but it is going to be enough. Even Ray's getting knocked up in there as he jumps in. Cataclysm comes in, no hook shot for Raze, but they're getting up to Bang here, who does have his Feather Storm, getting themselves into so much trouble right now as KONGDOO. Vladimir trying to do his best, getting a lot of people low, but he just doesn't have the damage. Blossom almost dies, but he baits him in the triple triple kill from FLICKR, looking for the quadra here as SSol is low as well. Gonna be a rough one, not able to secure it. And all the while, Thal on the bot lane, just farming up.
It was a 4v5 and SKT win the team fight, all ends up playing through FLICKR. Not a new plan, but certainly a good one in this particular game. They're onto Baron, but while KONGDOO Monster may have vision, can they do anything with it? With Raze dead, the answer is almost certainly no.
Absolutely here, as they'll just try to answer the GP, who may have gone a little bit far. Edge doesn't even have the mana to get in there and do anything, and Gangplank just too fast. So the Baron goes down. The tower is saved, at least, in the bottom lane.
Losing so much 4v5 has to be disheartening for KONGDOO Monster. Feels like the moment where they've been pushed too far. Looking at Raze's build, we mentioned he only has the Locket and the Cinderhawk. He wants to fight now because he knows they'll be outscaled in terms of damage. Notice that Thal was teleporting. He cancels it and realizes that SKT is going to go aggressive. And from here, we mentioned the fish in the barrel a couple of times. The ult goes down. Blossom can just dive into the backline. SSol and Roach are so heavily split from the rest of their team. There's no threat onto FLICKR. And while Roach gets into the backline for a while, they can't complete any kill. SKT's fighting front to back and also with plenty of long-range artillery, and KONGDOO Monster can only run away. Here it is. Whoa. You know, he probably would have preferred SSol, but he'll take the Tahm Kench, that's for sure.
If the trouble bubble hit, that was a quadra easy, but just a bit wide. Decided 3 kills is enough for that fight. As well, the game has been torn open now by SKT. Winning the fight, getting 3 kills, 4v5. They pick up the Baron and a couple of extra turrets, and they're looking for more.
Yeah, Gold Lade's balloon is 7,500 gold lead. After that passage of play, watching SKT pushing up. They're also pushing up in the top lane. That's probably going to be the easiest turret as Gangplank is finally adding on AD. Most damage dealt in the game is the Gangplank, just Gangplank things. Edge has Banshee Veil, but one Paddle Star accounts for just about 40% of the Taliyah's health total.
Or even a bit more, as she picks up some more items later on.
Ghost and Flash on cooldown from Roach. No backline threat for the Vladimir right now.
Someone's going to have to block that. It will be Raze. Secret, meanwhile, going for the Devourer. They're pushing 2 lanes at a time as KONGDOO look lost as to how to defend this. Thinking about that engage, but they can't quite get the knock-up with Blossom. I said 2 lanes, but they're actually pushing 3.
Yep.
As it is in the top side as well. May just be a swift end to this one if SKT decide to push in for the risky end. May not even be risky as they're looking for SSol here. Weaver's wall. Blossom still had his stopwatch, and there it is. Enough coming in. The flank from Roach wants to get onto FLICKR, and he may do so, but will it matter in the end? He pushes him out of the fight. The third inhibitor will go down here. The second one, rather. The third one getting low up in the top side. They're just looking for the end at this point.
Yeah, just able to ghost away. Vladimir dies in the back end to a paddle start. I'm sure that was big damage. It's going to be the second next turret, and SKT closing it up.
Blossom looking for some extra damage. Wolf getting flashy in the end, but SKT looking better towards the end of this one. Going for the end, picking on that Nexus. There it is. Game number 3 will go for the 2-1 victory for SK Telecom T1.
The SKT faithful roar, but they know this was a very difficult game. Better part of 2.5 hours to take out KONGDOO Monster. Came in strong in Game 2. Game 3 was a lot cleaner. The early game looked like once again maybe Raze is going to be able to engineer something onto the side of SK Telecom T1, but went tank, and then they made some bad decisions in the 5v4, overforced, and it was pretty clear for the close there for SKT. 2 passages of play basically decided the entire game, behind 2,500 gold into winning the game in less than 10 minutes. FLICKR Xayah on the LCK stage, first victory, but we know Valdez, it will not be his last.
Well, we'll see if other teams decide to ban it out, but as you mentioned, only the second time we've been able to see him on that pick, and he looked exactly the same as if he had just lost the game, basically. If you look at his face, it's really hard to tell. He's been around for a very long time. He'll take the wins and the losses in stride. He knows there's a bigger goal in mind, and winning one game against KONGDOO Monster is not enough to make him super happy at this point.
There's just 2 distinct phases of the game. KONGDOO Monster understood that to win with this draft, they had to play around the Zoe. Great plays in the bot lane. Looked like they were going to actually snowball SKT really hard, but they never got the turret, Valdez. It's still up this late in the game on the bot lane outer turret. They were targeting again and again with the Weaver's Wall and the Abyssal Voyage plays. FLICKR was able to ghost away. Let's see how big this Paddle Star is, by the way, because remember, Roach dies through all of this.
Oh, there it is. It's 1 into 2.
Into death.
Yep. See you later. You get caught by the trouble bubble. Of course, no flat, or rather cleanse.
But the first phase, KONGDOO Monster attack bot lane, get them low, get the kills, don't take the turret. The second phase, SKT play through the Zoe, force KONGDOO Monster to react, and that phase was short and also very triumphant for SKT.
So there you have it. SKT, they get another win under their belts, 3 in a row, up against BBQ, KSV, and now KONGDOO Monster. Going into the second round robin, though, is going to be a huge test for them. They have to go up against the top 3 teams. Once again, KZ, KT, and FLICKR, definitely some hard opponents in their future.
But they started 1-5, and to find themselves 4-5 going into the end of the first round robin for SKT, it's more than their most ardent fans could have hoped for. They have come together so strong around Blossom in the 3 best of 3s they've played with him. This was an action-packed one, probably too close for comfort for most SKT fans, but does end up being a comfortable Game 3 victory. 27 minutes, a lot shorter. Maybe the new norm. We're not to know about patch 8.3. KONGDOO Monster, good ideas at the start, but 2 big mistakes against SKT. They found a rampaging SK Telecom, and from 20 minutes to 27 minutes, the game ended.
That's all it took for them. KONGDOO Monster even in the lead there right before 20 minutes, but SKT turned it around. FLICKR Zoe lighten up the rift in this one.
I mean, just look at the scale. It went, in 7 minutes, they found a 13,000 goldie. We're talking almost 2,000 gold a minute. Just 2 big plays, honestly, the 4v5 team fight and then just the end of the game. But so many victories, piled them up, and KONGDOO Monster closer. A better series from KONGDOO than we've seen from them in 5, but an honorable loss does not help you when suddenly the relegation battle that 2 weeks in was looking unlikely for KONGDOO Monster, they're right back smack bang in the middle of it, Valdez.
Very true. They're going to have to look elsewhere, perhaps towards KSV once again, if they're going to look for more wins in the second round robin.
2-7 for them. KSV, unlikely defeat, but still a defeat against KONGDOO Monster. That 2-0 kind of haunted KSV, have never really regrouped since they lost to KONGDOO Monster. We'll see them in the second series, but before we get to that, how about a chat with FLICKR?
Might as well. I mean, definitely deserves it here in this game. Can't really look towards any other player that made a huge impact in this one outside of FLICKR.
So the numbers for Bang around 1345 on kills, 1533. 2,000 career kills on the horizon for FLICKR. We know he'll make it there. He's the greatest player to ever play this game and certainly the best player from Korea. So congratulations, FLICKR. 500 MVP, starting to close the race. I believe Tucson is still first at 600 points.
Catching up to our support player at the top of the MVP rankings.
Hey, FLICKR's never been the LCK MVP. He was in the Champions era, never in the LCK era. So another title for him to try to pick up.
So guys, we're going to throw it over to the interview here. I'll hand you over to Jisun, our translator, to translate things. We'll see you in a bit.
선수 그리고 페이커 선수의 인터뷰가 여러분을 기다리고 있습니다. 함께 만나보시죠.
자, 오늘 경기 이렇게 마무리가 됐습니다.
So here we brought Bang and FLICKR, who won against KONGDOO Monster today in 2-1 victory. So please give it all to the 2 players. Congratulations. We have a lot of crowds and a lot of cameras shooting for you guys. How do you feel? Well, I did know that KONGDOO's AD carry was a great player, so I was a little bit aware that today could be a little bit tough for us. And to FLICKR, you made some great plays, but also it was some hard times during the games too, right? So how do you feel? So I think we had quite a long vacation, so yeah, I thought I was worried about our teamwork, but I think it was better than I expected, so I feel good.
좀
Yeah.
힘든 경기였던 것 같아요.
It was a little struggle for us, but I think it was all okay.
집중력이 굉장히 좀 좋았었던 멋진 경기가 많이 있었는데 뱅하면 또 떠오르는 것 중에 하나가 아무래도 그 홍천의 아들 아니겠습니까?
And Bang, speaking of
홍천의
yourself,
자랑하는
you are really
것들이
proud of your
있는데
hometown,
홍천의
Hongcheon,
자랑을
in
주변에서
Korea.
평소에 굉장히 많이 한다는 얘기를 들었어요.
예.
네, 그
Why
자부심이
is
남다르다는
that?
얘기를 들었었는데
네.
제가 알기로는 남한에서 최고 큰 지역이라고 그러더라고요.
And I heard it is the biggest
지역이에요.
province in
홍천
South
자랑하는
Korea.
곳은 뭐가 있을까요?
Is there anything you want to speak more about your hometown, Hongcheon?
그렇죠.
It's three times bigger than Seoul,
물도 많고
and there are a lot of mountains and great environment, and people are so nice.
강원도
Yeah, it's a
동네?
beautiful
아니,
place in
그래서
Gangwon-do,
그 강원도의
the province in
기후를
Korea.
잔뜩 머금고 있는 홍천.
예, 청정의 고장입니다.
Yeah, it's a very clean and environmental place in Korea.
대사로 자리 잡고 있지 않을까라는 생각이 좀 들었습니다. 그만큼 이제 지역 사람들을 굉장히 많이 보여주셨는데 어떻습니까? 일단은 1세트
So,
조금 더
on the
좀
first
말씀을
set,
드리면 사실상 좀 이번에도 건강 걱정하시는 분들이 굉장히 많았어요.
Well,
일단
there
좀
are
다리가
a lot of
괜찮았다라고 좀
fans
있었는데
worried about your
실제적으로
like health because we've heard that your legs are quite broken, right? Is that okay?
응급실을 2번을 갔다 왔어요.
Well, I actually went to hospital
네.
twice during the vacations
축구를 하면 안 되는데
because I'm not supposed to play
했다가
soccer with
발등이
my
또
friends, so
터져가지고.
it has got worse.
그러니까 실제로 터진 건 아니고 그러니까 좀 많이 부어가지고
Yeah, it has swollen a bit, so
평소에 이제
I have to
지장은
go to the
없었는데
hospital.
지금은
But
이제
yeah, it
진짜
doesn't
거의 다
really
다행이네요.
irritates me a lot, so yeah, I think it's all good.
어떻게 아시죠?
미안해요, 좀 쫓아갔어요. 네, 좀 약간 스토킹했어요.
So yeah,
그래서
I'm a
그
big fan of you,
동치를
Bang,
좀
so I
도움이
was
좀
really
많이
worried.
됐다고 그러는데 건강 괜찮으신 거죠?
So you're feeling all good, right? Yeah,
네.
I'm
그럼
feeling
1세트 주요
perfect.
장면들 좀 보면서 한번 얘기를
Then
나눠보겠습니다.
let's check out some highlights of Bang from the first set.
장면 만나보겠습니다. 조금 보시면 설명해 주실까요?
예. 이거는 좀 해서는 안 되는 플레이.
Well, actually, that was kind of risky play,
네.
and this one,
이제 어떻게 보였어요?
딱히 제가 잘했다기보다는 그냥
I think it was not. It's not my super
안
play.
이게 그러니까 그렇게 막 잘했.
Yeah, it's not
그럼 이거는요?
that much of a great play.
많이
아까
못했어요.
그 장면이네요.
And
죄송합니다.
yeah, this one is what I
이제
said. It was
다시
a
볼게요.
risky,
이 장면 분명히
not
우리가
a good
잘했다고 막
play.
소리를 너무 질러가지고
예. 제가 봤을 때는 그렇게
Yeah, I think it's a
잘한 것 같지
repetitive play,
이건
and I don't think it's a really
네.
the highlight of the game.
리플레이 잘못 잡았네요. 이거 말고
Well, I guess it wasn't a perfect replay of the first game, right?
한번 지켜보시면 좋을 것 같고 사실 그 페이커 역시 1경기,
And
2경기,
speaking of
3경기 치러내면서
throughout the three sets,
라이즈의 활용들도 있었고 라이즈 같은 경우는
you
뭐 좋긴
picked
좋은데
Ryze,
좀뭐
right?
달라진 장면도 많이
In the first
있었다는 얘기
game.
있었거든요. 그 뭐 이렇게
So how do you think about the patch on Ryze and also the ultimate change with the stopwatch?
어려움이 있을 것이다라는 생각이 있었는데
So is
미드가
Ryze
갖고
being
성장을 했더라고요.
근데 저는 어차피 초시계 궁극기를 잘 쓰진 않아가지고.
Well, I actually don't use the stopwatch ult a lot, so it doesn't really matter to me. But like today, I got rid of my stopwatch, and there were so many ganks in the mid lane. So yeah, I had a little regret that if I had stopwatch, yeah, it could be better.
사실 그 사이온에 관련된 내용들도 많이 등장하더라고요. 그 팀
And
단위적
there
측면에서
are a lot of mentions
서로에게
about
뭐 가까이
Sion.
라인에서 어떤 그 도움들이 좀 있었나요, 페이커 선수?
What kind of plans did you guys bring up with that?
좀 자신 있어 하는 것 같아요.
Our top laner
네.
has a lot of confidence on it, so yeah,
네.
we thought it would be great to play today.
팀적으로 탱커가 있으니까 또
And also, it's really good in a team
한타 때
comp because we have
딜러들이
tankers.
활약하고 좀 좋았던 것 같습니다.
Yeah, it was easy for me and Bang to do a better team fight.
집요한 미드 갱들이 좀 이루어졌었잖아요. 그러면서 분위기
In
자체가
the second
사실
game,
좀
there
어렵게 올라가는
were a
장면이 좀
lot
많이
of
있었는데
ganking in
그거
the mid lane.
지켜보시면서
How
어떤
was
생각이
that?
들었어요, 이 세트?
일단 이 경기 때 제가 조금 생각을 잘 갱킹 생각을 좀 잘 제대로 안 해가지고.
Yeah, I think in the second
많이
game, I
당했는데
was unaware
그다음에
about the
좀
enemy
집중력이
gank,
떨어졌던 것 같아요.
so yeah, I was
하지만 3세트는
a little bit
올라오는
focusing
장면이
less,
있었는데
so yeah, it was a bad play for me.
머릿속에 떠오르나요?
Then
뭐
moving on to the third
그냥,
one, what was the highlight of your play?
딱히
지금-
기억나는
네.
장면은
Well, actually nothing special,
블라디가 들어왔을 때 제가
but
혼자
when
아, 그 장면.
when
그 장면. 잊지
last
마시라고
team fight,
저희가
I caught
영상으로
down
준비해봤습니다.
Vladimir by myself, so maybe that one.
이 장면이죠.
You're speaking of this one, right?
죽은 줄 알았는데
네.
I actually thought I was dead, but I realized that he didn't have
모든 스케줄이
ghosts,
다각된 장면이
so
있었거든요.
yeah, I was
뭐
lucky
이
to
전에도
take him
너무
down.
좋았습니다만 언급하신 바로 이 장면 놓치지 않고 한번 잡아서 3세트 아주 주요 장면으로 봤는데 사실 두 분 모두 사실 설 연휴 동안에 좀 굉장히 바빴다는 얘기 좀
So
들었어요.
I heard you guys were both busy during the
좀 여유를
holidays,
좀
right?
했었고 뭐 이런 얘기 좀 들었었는데 설 연휴는 뭐 잘
So
보내시나요?
how was your holidays?
네, 저는 아마 4일 정도 쉬었던 것 같은데.
Yeah, I think I had 4 days off.
꼬박꼬박 PC방에 출근을 했고요.
I went to
그리고
play games with my friend 10 hours a day. And I hanged out with my friends a
잘
lot.
보냈습니다.
Yeah, I had a
그
great
정도는
vacation.
많이 좀 편해졌고 그게 경기력으로도 좀 잘 드러난 것 같은데. 아니 근데
What about
FLICKR은
you,
오신 것
FLICKR?
같아요. 뭐 가족 여행
I
하시는 얘기 좀
think
들었었는데.
you were on a family
일본에서도
vacation and
어떠셨어요?
also meet and greet in
저희가
Japan,
KSD
right?
경기 끝나고 다음 날 제가 바로 다녀왔고요.
네,
Yeah,
일본에서
I went to
e스포츠
Japan.
얘기 좀 어떻던가요? 네.
확실히 제가 좀 경기장에 간 것이 아니기 때문에
Well, I was
잘
in a
느낄 수는
esports
없었던
stadium,
것
so
같은데 뭐
I
일본
couldn't really feel
어느
the
나라를 가든
fever in the
그냥
esports in
똑같은 것
Japan.
같아요.
But
네,
yeah, it was
열심히
a great
찍었다, 이런 얘기를
experience.
해주신
Yeah.
것 같은데요. 사실 끝으로 사실 블라썸 선수가
Lastly,
아직도 두 선수를 너무나 어려워하고 있습니다. 두 형을 너무 사랑한다는
Blossom
얘기를
are
지금
still
많이
in crush
들어가지고
with you guys. Do you guys
특파원
know?
형이 계속해서 이제 블라썸 선수의 움직임을 봤는데 자신이 그 개인 채팅창에
So last time,
끝끝내 엔터키를 누르지 못한 글이
Blossom
있어요.
wanted
제가 다시 한번
to
말씀을 드리면
send a message on the League of Legends client
근처 블라썸 없죠? 그럼 제가 좀 말씀을 드릴게요. 페이커에게는
to FLICKR,
떡국 드셨어요?
how was your
떡국
holidays?
먹고 싶다 이런 얘기를
But he couldn't press the enter
5번
key.
정도 반복을 했대요. 자 그리고 뱅 선수에게는
And to Bang,
형 사랑해요를
he typed,
꾹꾹 눌렀었는데
I love you, Bang,
엔터를
but
치지
he
못했던
couldn't press
정말
enter
안타까운
either.
장면들이 있었습니다. 그만큼 블라썸이 존경하다 보니까
I think he
두
does
선수들
admire
약간
both of you
아직까지
guys.
좀 어려워하는 것 같은데 오늘도 진짜 파이팅을 많이 해줬잖아요. 블라썸
Is
선수에게
there
한
anything you want to say to
한
him?
말씀 해주신다면요.
네,
네.
오늘 좀 경기 할 때 약간 풀이 죽어 있더라고요.
Well, I saw he was a little bit
있었고,
depressed during the games.
그래도 어느 정도 게임할
Well,
때
he made some
잘
mistakes,
해줘서
but I really want to thank him that he
잘했던 것
performed
같습니다.
well today.
얼마나 잘했으면 잘했다는 얘기를 했겠습니까? 정말 블라썸 잘했다는 얘기고요.
And
그리고
Bang,
저는 뭐 일단 범찬이가 저희를 좀 더 편하게
I
게임
hope
안에서는 다 똑같으니까
Blossom
그렇죠.
feels a little bit more comfortable with us
또 그냥
than right now
열심히 잘해서
because we're all just teams, right?
꼭 저희보다 더 높은 선수 될 수 있도록
So I hope he can become a greater
자,
player in the
그러기
late in the
사실
days.
그 기운이 굉장히 필요하거든요. 블라썸 어디 갔나요? 블라썸
So
어디
we
있어요?
want to bring Blossom up here,
아쉽네.
but
블라썸 있으면
sadly
한번
he's not
불러가지고 형들의 기운
around.
좀 전해주려고 했는데 자 그리고 저희가 이제 페이커 선수가
But
MVP
we
탔다고
brought
해서
some special
주어진 선물이
gift
있다고
for
합니다.
FLICKR.
네,
Here you go.
흰티 3개입니다.
It's a 3 white t-shirts.
평소에 워낙에 사랑을 많이 주신다는 얘기 들어가지고
Well, you
제가
love
특별히 이
white
흰티 3개를 한번
t-shirts, so
준비를 해봤는데
we brought something special for you.
어떻습니까 이 흰티?
How do you
어떻습니까
feel?
이 티?
How do you like it?
감사합니다. 덕분에
Thank you very
힌트가
much.
103장이 되었네요.
Now I have
어떻습니까?
103
이 티
white
마음에
t-shirts.
드십니까?
뭐 그냥 겉으로 보기엔 평범한 힌트.
It looks
네,
like
저희가
a normal
마음을
white
담겼으니까 그
t-shirt.
흰티 소중하게 써주시기 바라겠습니다. 끝으로 오늘 SK 테lecom T1이 새
And
연승을
lastly,
달성하면서 지난번에 보여주셨던
you
그
guys
느낌들
are
꾸준히
in a
이어가고 있는
3-win
팬들이
streak
좀
right
보여주고
now.
있는데 이 3연승 역시 SKT다라는 느낌을 지금 팬들이 받고 있거든요. 팬 여러분께 한
So
말씀
is there anything you want to say
부탁드릴까요,
to your fans?
저희가 좀 길게 보고 플레이오프까지
I
갈 수
think
있으면 가서
we're really hoping
다시
to
한번
make it to the playoffs
우상계기로 올라갈 수 있도록
and in the end to make it to the finals. So we just want to make sure that we're gonna keep our consistency and stability in our performance.
네, 오늘 저희가 KDM 콩두전
Today
2대1로 승리를 따냈는데요.
we
다음
had
경기도
2-1 victory against KONGDOO, so
승리를 따내도록
we're gonna make sure to win the
네,
next
선수가
matches.
만나왔습니다. 그리고 이제 블라썸 선수가 도착을 했으니까
And
끝으로
we
세 명의 선수
have
이
our
승리 기운을
special guest,
함께 나누면서
Blossom.
포옹과 함께 오늘 MVP 인터뷰를 모두
And we're ready to say
마치도록
goodbye to our
하겠습니다. 세
fans.
선수 모두 고생하셨습니다. 수고하셨습니다. 기운 한번 주세요. 네, 기운 한번 주세요.
So this will be the end of the
지금까지
interview,
SK T1의
and
세
I'll
명의
hand it
선수들과
over back to you
함께했습니다.
guys.
고맙습니다.
Well, that happened.
I love Sport TV interviews, man. They're so good.
If you just tried to like run down the clock of what happened in the interview, it'd be a great story. There was a lot of cool stories there. Bit of hugs. Hugs were needed. Blossom had an up and down series, but they keep winning with him, so they'll keep running him. Very interesting series between KONGDOO Monster and SKT. I'm sure you understand what they were talking about with Blossom, where you write a message but you don't send it. The same as back in the day, you would write a letter but not post it.
Yeah, you know.
Do you have any letters for me, Valdez?
Not yet. Maybe after we cast a little bit more. I don't know. You know, I need a little bit more time before I commit, Papa.
Well, commitment is what SKT with Blossom does. And when you have great mechanics with the EQs, the flashes, oh my, there was so much engage on the side of SKT, especially in game 1, but game 3, the same sort of initiation proved them well. FLICKR can play Zoe, big surprise there. And from here, SKT, it's so interesting because where are they at is this question that's so hard. I feel like if you take any analyst and say, is SKT better than KingZone, no one would agree with you.
Yeah.
FLICKR, probably no one would agree with you. But where you actually draw the line is very interesting. Is SKT back? Are they a contender? Are they a decent team cresting upon becoming something better? We really don't know. And a performance like this, where they did drop a game to KONGDOO Monster, end their 10-game losing streak at 9, we're still not sure, but they are winning matches, and playoffs is looking more likely for them. They've run the gauntlet before, weren't able to beat Longzhu in the final, but they, of course, ran the gauntlet in summer season. So understanding where SKT is at, still a bit of a mystery.
Well, again, I want to see them against some stronger teams. KONGDOO looked pretty good tonight, but I want to see them up against the KingZones, the Afrikas of the world. We'll get a much better look at where this team is.
What a series. This is a fun one.
Game 2 was fantastic. I would definitely recommend that to your friends. Game 3 was a bit of, Z Omega Lul E, as you do. But definitely Game 2 was a big highlight from this week. A good start to 8.3, I'd have to say.
Bring it on. I want more of it. And guess what, guys? Man, do we have a great second game for you. KSV in a bit of a free fall against KT Rolster, still one of our top teams. SKT cannot make it to 5th spot with this win. They're actually equal in game score to the Rocks Tigers, but they've played an extra match, so of course don't deserve to be there. But man, are we close to seeing SK Telecom hit playoffs. KT versus KSV is 3rd versus 4th. KT wanting to go outright 2nd. Just a game ahead of KingZone Dragon X, but they want to hit 7-2. So we have a really good, great game you should definitely stick around with, because we might be going 6 games. Often SpoTV is the 4 games and done, but we might be hitting the 6 very easily today, Valdez.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think that KT will take it eventually. I don't think it'll be a 2-0. I'd say 2-1. As KSV, if they show up, they look good. And especially against a team like KT, I think they will show up. They should have practiced over the course of the break, and we'll be ready for that. And talking about a break, it's not going to be a long one, guys. Should be just about 20 minutes, not a long one. So we'll see you guys in 20 minutes for game number 1 of KSV versus KT Rolster.
2018 SK 스프링 스플릿 오늘의 첫 번째 경기는 SK텔레콤 T1의 승리로 끝이 났습니다. 저희는 20분 후 KSV와 KT 롤스터의 경기로 다시 인사드리겠습니다.
I'm gonna keep on running.